am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman. Yep. I finally saw the Batman, guys, on HBO Max yesterday, and I was wrong. This was not the worst movie of the year. It's not even close. It's actually really good. There are problems, but I'll get to that. This mask is not. It's not gonna. I'm gonna have to take it off because it's slipping off. But I wanted to just make a cool entrance. Yeah. Hey guys, it's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome to another spectacle month. And this is definitely a spectacle. I was gonna take another week off, but I had to review this now so I can get it over with because I'm really tired and I want to do this without falling asleep. The Batman 2022 American superhero movie based on the DC Comics. And the longest single Batman movie by himself without being associated with the Justice League or whatever. And yeah, it's actually really good. I wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid that all the critics were. I saw it as its own thing, separate from the Nolan films and the Snyderverse and the Tim Burton movies. There's a lot of nods to those films, but it's subtle. Some people said that it was too emo. I'm like, it's Batman. You know what you're going to get, guys. Every DC character that's tried to be emo didn't work. Man of Steel making Superman emo, that didn't work. The Flash on the CW, that didn't work. Arrow making him emo, that worked for a while, but he's not Batman. Just saying. Matt Reeves did a good job. He did better than anything that Rian Johnson or James Gunn has done in a while. Let me tell you, at least this guy can write and direct. Because I love the Cloverfield movie. Good movie. It's just the ending I didn't care for. I haven't seen the Apes movies yet, Dawn or War. I want to see it after seeing this. And Let Me In was a remake of the Let the Right One In. I heard it's actually not horrible. And yes, it stars Robert Pattinson, the guy from Twilight, Water for Elephants, the fourth Harry Potter movie. This is his best role that I've seen him in. Because unlike the other roles where he looks like he's in pain for the whole thing, at least here he can hide his pain through his eyes. He's got more Michael Keaton pain than Christian Bale. Because Bale was a good, he was a good Batman and a good Bruce Wayne, but his voice is easily the worst. The city voice, no, it was too much. Here it's a lot more subtle. Jeffrey Wright's a great Commissioner Gordon. Well, Jim Gordon. Zoe Kravitz is delicious as Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman. She never calls herself that, but we know who she is. So delicious. Turturro was a good Falcone. He was really intimidating and great acting. Peter Sarsgaard, he had a small role as Coulson. Andy Serkis is a pretty good Alfred. I just thought that he was a bit underused in the second half of the movie. He's just in the hospital and then you don't see him again because he was directing that shitty Venom sequel. So shame on you, Sony, for wasting his time. Colin Farrell, oh my God, I didn't even recognize him in this movie. I was like, this is Colin Farrell. He played Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin. Great makeup effects on his face. The accent did not get on my nerves like in Punisher Warzone. What's his name? Dominic West. I hated his accent in that. It was very cartoonish and over the top, and it didn't need to be that way. But Colin Farrell did a great job as the Penguin, and the one that steals the show is Paul Dano as the Riddler. Holy shit, this guy scared the shit out of me. He scared the shit out of me. As soon as I saw him in the first 5 minutes, I was like on the edge of my seat. I'm like, what's he going to do? He sounds like Kylo Ren if Kylo Ren was actually scary. He's like, riddle me this. Do this in 5 minutes and you'll be free. If not, your head is going to blow up. And I'm like, yeah, and he sounds intimidating and scary. And that mask that he's wearing is so frightening. Oh my God. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. And the film sees Batman, who's been fighting crime in Gotham City for 2 years, uncover corruption while pursuing the Riddler, a serial killer who targets Gotham's elite. Kind of like the Joker did in The Dark Knight, but this is way more disturbing and violent. And yeah, biggest problem, the movie's too long, guys. This could have been in 2 parts. Like the Snyder Cut, this could have easily been trimmed down to either 2 hours and 20 minutes or 2 hours and 15 minutes. There's a lot of scenes that could have been trimmed or cut entirely. Like the club scenes, you didn't need to go to that club 5 or 6 times. It could have been once or twice. We get it. They have to meet with certain people at a certain time, but I just thought those scenes just dragged a little bit. You could have cut that out. And some characters on the side that could have been cut out as well. But a lot of critics were saying that the movie's too freaking long. It's not 3 hours. People were lying to you. I counted it. 2 hours and 47 minutes and a few seconds. That's under 3 hours. But, I didn't feel it that much because the first hour and a half was really engaging. It's not till the third act that it just starts to slow a little bit. And I'm like, yeah. By the time we got to Riddler, his master plan, I'm like, okay, now the movie needs to wrap up. And it does. The action's well shot. It's not horribly edited. It's not shaky cam bullshit like in Snake Eyes last year. And also, it's shot very well. Like, the cinematography in this movie is amazing. That's why I trust Matt Reeves way more than freaking Rian Johnson or J.J. Abrams. These hack directors that are getting movies that they don't deserve. Michael Giacchino, great job with the score. I love it. I hope it gets an Oscar nomination next year. The film has a budget. Like, there's not too much CGI in it. Like in the Justice League theatrical cut. Or Suicide Squad is better than those. And it's way better than Wonder Woman 84 or The Suicide Squad, which is an R rating, and it wasn't as intense as this. It was just a lot of cartoonish violence and F-bombs because James Gunn doesn't know how to write. And like I said, I did enjoy this. I did. It's not perfect. Like I said, it's too freaking long, and it could have been in 2 parts. There's a lot of stuff taken from like The Long Halloween and the Arkham games and the Gotham TV series and Joker. This could have easily been connected to the Joker movie from 2019. I do prefer that because it's a lot shorter and it's an Oscar-worthy performance by Joaquin Phoenix. Dano needs to get an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor because he stole the show. And it was delayed twice because of the pandemic, but I could see why this movie succeeded while Morbius failed critically. It received praise for the performances. They're great, mostly. The cinematography, some of the best shot scenes in a DC movie. Reed's direction, action sequences in the story, though some criticize his runtime. It didn't need to be 3 hours, guys, or close to it. It could have been 2 hours and 15 minutes. As long as a Star Wars prequel. There's a reason Endgame was 3 hours because it was the ending of a franchise, not the beginning of a new direction for iconic superhero. Just saying. The Penguin show on HBO Max needs to be short. Each episode should be 40 or 50 minutes at the longest. It doesn't need to be an hour and a half per episode. Learn from Marvel and their Disney Plus shows that they're short. They're not an hour and a half. At least. It's intended to launch a Batman shared universe with 2 sequels planned and 2 spin-off TV shows on HBO Max. Good, go for it. I like this direction. It's not too sad and dreary like some of the DCU movies, and it doesn't have stupid comedy like in Batman and Robin. It knows the tone it is, and it goes for it. It does not change direction. And it deserved all the money it's made. It's made about $752 million. It's not going to make $1 billion because kids can't see this movie. It's way too scary for them. It's going to scare the shit out of them. The Riddler with the freaking duct tape, that's going to give them enough night terrors. It scared me, and I'm a grown-ass man. And not a lot of things scare me nowadays. The movie's made $365 million. That's enough. I don't think it needs to make $1 billion. It made its point. Wonder Woman didn't either, and it made a lot of money. And while I say this, it's not better than Spider-Man No Way Home. That was more fun, colorful, and I cried in that movie. There was emotional scenes though, especially with the scene in the hospital with Alfred and Bruce talking, and it's really emotional. It's a good scene. They're holding hands, but because they're friends. There's no gay shit in this movie. So suck it, Batwoman. This is how you do it right. The consensus was a grim, gritty, and gripping superhero noir. Yes, definitely. The Batman ranks amongst the Dark Knight's bleakest and most thrilling, ambitious live-action outings. Yeah. And it didn't bore me to death like the Eternals did. Oh my god, it's so much better than that movie. That movie was a boring, overlong, pretentious, gay as fuck movie that had a worse cast in any ensemble film I've seen in years. At least Robert wasn't asleep in this movie like the idiot that played Diet Superman and Icarus in Eternals. And there was an actor from Eternals here, but I'm not going to get to that. That's a deleted scene on the Blu-ray. That's going to be on the Blu-ray. It was a good scene, but I'm glad it was cut from the movie because the movie was already long enough. And it's a well-shot movie. There's a lot of, the acting is really good. And if they say it was too emo Batman, I'm like, every Batman was emo. Every single one. Val Kilmer's version, Keaton, Clooney's not. He's just a joke. The ones in the animated series. Batman's a very emo character. That's why he's mostly keeps to himself. I get it. For him, it works. For a lot of these DC characters, a darker tone just does not work. And also, this movie is gonna get a ton of Oscar nominations, just like Dune did this year. And it's a direction for DC that was working. I was sick of Batman after seeing Batman v Superman and the Justice League, but I'm like, yeah, I wanted Ben Affleck to get this role, but hey, at least he's coming back next year for The Flash. Ezra Miller, please stay out of trouble. You keep getting arrested. This is how you do it. Stay on the path. Robert did. You didn't see him punching people in the face or slapping people like Will Smith or getting into trouble with the law. No. He got COVID, but that's the only thing that happened during the pandemic. That happened when he was filming this. But hey, we all make mistakes. But I like this movie. It's in my top 10 of the year easily. Not my top 5. Sonic 2 is still in my top 5. Multiverse of Madness hasn't come out yet. I'm going to see that soon. That's going to be a lot shorter, so I know I'm going to enjoy it more. And it's Marvel, so I'm a Marvel guy more than a DC guy. But DC, you did a good job. If this is your only live-action movie till Black Adam, so be it. I can wait. That's a villain movie that's coming out in October, so I'm looking forward to more. And this is better than any of the CW shows we gotten in a while. Let me tell you, because it's not overly serious where it's not enjoyable. There's a lot of spectacle in the movie that made me enjoy myself. Plenty of, gunfire, explosions, a car chase scene that's amazing, him breaking through glass, plenty of punches, lots of fisticuffs, and it's not overly violent. The Suicide Squad just was violent just to be violent, and it took me out of it. The R rating didn't help that movie. I just thought it was decent because of John Cena, Ratcatcher, and a few other characters, but it was too overcrowded. Here, it worked, mainly. Not perfect. I give it an 8 out of 10. A 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, because it is a great movie. It's worth seeing. I would recommend at least one watch on HBO Max. When it comes out on Blu-ray, I'll probably do a podcast, but in 2 parts, because the movie is way too long. That's its drawback. If this was a 2-hour movie, I would have been happy. But the extra 47 minutes just feel a little bit too, forced in there in the middle. It's just padding, but hey, what are you going to do? It's a DC movie. Most of these movies are meant to be long. But anyway, that's my review of The Batman. It's a great movie. It's got flaws, but it's not the worst thing ever. I thought it was going to be a lot freaking worse. And this is coming from me. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll try to do a video a lot sooner. No podcast this week, just videos. Thanks for watching. Later.